the enhancements and family substitutions with Twinmotion. This is, I happen to like this because I love the rendering aspects of Twinmotion, but this one was very difficult to do in Twinmotion, but it's a lot easier to do here. So let's through this particular new workflow that they defined by adding this enhancement of family substitution. So let's see how it works. Let's close all of these. Save changes, no. Let's open up our Twinmotion. Let's go ahead and adjust my view a little bit. It's a little too high. And let's go ahead and select this particular code. We'll see a chair. And if we look at it, the actual substitution method is actually applied to the style itself, not to the instance. Okay, so I have to go to the style type, and it's at the bottom. You'll see the twin substitution dialog box, which is a little dialog box that tells you exactly which of these objects it is that I have selected. Okay, I can switch it to any one of them that I want. We're going to leave it as this one. Actually, let's go ahead and say Olympia seat and say OK. So now it's the Olympia seat. We'll say OK. So if I go to this one over here, because it is a style, it is the same thing. Okay, the particular carpet has also been assigned a substitution carpet right there. Okay, but there is something that needs to be seen, okay, in order for us to understand exactly what's happening. The more that I get to play with this and understand it a bit more, I'm sure that there's a way of actually controlling the position, but I want you to see this anyway. Make sure that you are aware of all of this. So let's go ahead and come over. Oops, sorry, I need to stay here. And I need to go ahead into my view, and I need to launch my Twinmotion. Okay, it takes a little bit. I've been noticing that sometimes, oops, sorry about that. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than I want to. Okay. Please give us a moment. Here it is. Okay, this is one thing that I wanted you to see, and one of the reasons why I was so adamant in seeing this, because sometimes it kind of goes to the other screen that I have, but I would have pulled it in because I needed you to see this enable substitution. If you don't have this invoked, it's not going to work. This is important. Okay, so I'm just going to say okay to this. And here is my object. Let's go ahead and select some things that I don't want and delete them. So we leave just our model. You'll notice that this door, okay, right here is not the same as the one I have here. Let's go ahead into the south elevation. It's not the same door. Actually, this is a standard single flush door, okay, that has been told to be replaced by a single rotating 10-inch door. You see that? Interesting, rotating, very cool thing that you're going to see in a couple of seconds, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and say cancel here, go back to the 3D and go back to my Twinmotion and watch what happens to those doors as I approach them. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure. Oh my God, that to me is super cool. Super, super cool. The doors open, they're animated. It's just great for presentations. You remember I told you about the placement of the objects there. They don't come out where they're supposed to. You see that? These chairs, this is not where I wanted the chairs. They actually should have been on these positions here. Okay, and the carpet definitely should not be there. It should be over here. You see that? Okay, so you have to be careful. So what happens if in the middle of something, we decided that we actually want some standard chairs rather than fancy chairs like this. Okay, well, so how do we actually change that? Well, we come over here to edit type, we say Olympia seat, and well, guess what? That's not what I want. By the way, you should take note, this is the actual way that I'm noticing is the actual workflow. I go ahead and clear the selection and say okay, because if I don't have the other selections. It's just the I would say living room type chairs. Okay, these are not necessarily living room type chairs, although everything is listed here, okay? I want this cocoon chair. So now it's going to be replaced with the cocoon chair. I say, okay. When I come back over here to my Twinmotion, oops, I forgot to say synchronize. My fault. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, go here to synchronize, and I come back to my Twinmotion, and guess what? But here's the problem. I promise you I will find out how they resolve this or how to resolve this, and I will actually make a blog about this, because this is a little bit on the really tiresome side that you have to, every time you replace something, you have to shift it. It's kind of insane. Okay, as you know, in Twinmotion, replacing materials is rather simple. Okay. The other thing that I really did want you to see, I'm going to switch this over to my level 1 here. And I have these trees out here. Okay, these trees are the Causa dogwood 10-foot, okay, which have been replaced with the pomegranate. Okay, now this is the thing that I actually like about this. If I actually needed to change the sizes here in Revit, I would actually have to create a separate duplicate of this object and then change the size. Otherwise, I change them all because it's in the style. Okay. Not so in Twinmotion, which makes it a lot easier for us to create more variations in our presentation drawings. Let's go ahead and switch over from here to a top view. Okay, and these are the trees in question. These are the pomegranates. But the beauty of this is that I can change the actual age of the tree, and I can change the rotation of the tree separate from each one, even though, okay, they're actually the same tree in Revit. They're not necessarily the same tree here in Twinmotion. So if I switch back to our 3D view, oops, sorry, wrong one. There we go. Now we can see a little bit more variation in the trees outside.